Well, hi YouTubers, hi, I'm back with the last part of her Heart for a Compass by Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York and Marguerite Kaye, or Marguerite Kaye, okay. So at this point, Margaret is kind of seeing Randolph Muller. He's a lawyer, he's cool, and she's forging her life independently in New York, and it's going brilliantly for her, and she's just kind of going through it, and it's very, very interesting, okay, because Margaret is quite a radical. She's getting involved in fight with 5 points. She wants to build a sanctuary, a place for them to go, okay. And this bit here, okay, this is when, okay, she's chatting to Randolph, okay, about the situation, and this bit here, okay. Right. The real problem that we tend to accuse people who fail to make something of themselves of being lazy or no good. Randolph joined her in the window seat and put his arm around her. Don't look so down. We do more than enough helping at the mission. I know you use your own money to buy things for those kids. Not to mention finding their mother's work when you can. Creating positions in your own home. It's a limit to what one person can do. Margaret lives in like a tiny, not tiny, okay, but not like a big place. I'm like, how many people are you employing? And we never actually get to meet these people. It's kind of like, I employ all these people to live in my house, work in my house, but we never actually meet the people she's employed, which I've been quite interesting, because the other two maids get a mention, okay, but none of the people that she works with, okay. But Margaret wants to build a sanctuary to save 5 points, and she uses her mind, of course, okay. She uses her mind, and she's going to this bit here, okay. But the only thing I know is that I need money, and the only way I know to earn money is by writing. And oh, Randolph, I think you might be a genius. You only think, said indignantly. I could write a book of stories for children set in 5 points, with all the profits being ploughed back in. I'd have to paint a slightly sanitised picture, but actually children like gruesome tales. Oh, they do. Okay? It won't raise very much, but it will be a start, and the publicity can only help make more people aware of their true situation. Right, so she's gonna write a children's book, sanitize it, set in 5 points. Obviously, okay, in this children's book, there won't be the reality of the situation, okay, of kids being poor, living in slums, a very kind of, like the book she wrote when she was back in the UK, okay, and even though, okay, her and Randolph are becoming very, very, very close than a woman in her social situation would even be allowed, okay? It's like the 1860s still at this point. They meet up with no chaperone. He's a very, very well-established lawyer who also works for 5 points because he's just a top bloke like that. They're meeting with no chaperone. It tells, people can be talking about this. The unchaperoned, Lady Margaret, okay? And this gentleman stepping out together, going swimming together. But not the scandal. Even though, okay, for her attitude, Margaret's quite radical. But her heart still remains with Donald. Donald, who she didn't marry. Donald, who she kind of left behind to go to New York. And she's still thinking about him, even though she's not seeing Randolph, but a very good friend of Randolph. I actually like Randolph. Okay? Right. Donald would probably be married by now. Miss Helen Blair would be Mrs. Donald Cameron. A position Margaret had rejected and probably would again. Probably. Almost certainly. But it wasn't Donald who was on the brink of proposing, it was Randolph. So Randolph was on the brink of proposing to Margaret. They get along really well. They both into the same kind of like charitable work. They both kind of like to help people. And yet she turns him down. She can't be with him. Okay? Even, yeah, she had no idea that he liked her like that. Okay, right. So, but she just doesn't love him. Okay? Because, once again, this bit here. Right. Standing by the window to watch him descend the steps, Margaret was relieved when he looked up to wave as usual before heading for Broadway. Turning away, tears stung her eyes and doubts crowded her mind. Love had the best to blossom between them given time. Was she remembering her feelings for Donald, creating a false ideal that no man could live up to? It didn't matter. The point was that she still wasn't ready to marry. She'd have to accept that she might never be ready to marry. Until she was, there'd be no more romances. Right. So she feels like she's misled Donald, okay? Not sorry, misled Randolph in this, okay? Because they've just been friends, But the way he touches her, the way like he puts his arm around her, you know, he is very forward, okay, compared to like British men, okay. I mean, these two people together unchaperoned at this time, both unmarried. Scandal, scandal, absolute scandal. And it's very interesting as well, okay, because Margaret's attitude, okay, to 5 points and all that, is when she is in like public settings, okay, kind of stuff, she talks about it. She practically ambushes people. There's this one bit, okay, where you know, she's at this like yachting event, and she like ambushes someone, okay, to be her silent partner for this charity, okay, you know, a private donation kind of thing. Okay, so she's quite radical in that. It's kind of like, you know, she gets people on her side. And but the thing is, one thing I would have loved to see is, imagine, okay, the media like absolutely loving Margaret when she first appeared. She's joining our society. She's joining New York society, okay, with the Astors and that kind of stuff, and the Strausses and yeah, yeah. And then Margaret proves such a radical, okay. Margaret comes that person, wants to stop talking, okay, about you should be doing more for this charity because I know better because I'm Margaret. Because Margaret's attitude is I know better because I'm Margaret. And it really kind of pushes people out that kind of don't want to invite her to their social settings. Because she wants to stop talking about it. It's, you may donate to charity, but I'm actually getting my hands dirty at 5 points. But, you know, she has some charitable engagements, but not as many as she used to, or engagements as she used to. And I would have liked, in a way, okay, for the media, in a way, kind of turn on her. Because as she's so radical, people kind of like getting a little bit tired of it all. Okay? Because everyone's got that person, you know, who won't shut up about it. Okay, but the New York media absolutely love Margaret. Okay, right. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is in the press. All right. Lady Margaret, the champion of this excellent cause, struggled to interest any of our great metropolis. Okay, metropolis philanthropists in it. A true Scotswoman, she stubbornly refused to give up the fight, and her grit and determination eventually won the sympathetic ears of an anonymous donor. See what I mean? The media absolutely love her. And that article is basically saying, okay, what she's basically you because she's Lady Margaret. That's the kind of thing. However, even though she doesn't get with Randolph, okay, right, Randolph actually meets someone, a friend of hers, and gets married and has a beautiful little baby of his own, so he's absolutely fine, okay? It kind of really hits Margaret Kaye. The fact is now that she is in her late 20s. She's given a lot of her life, okay, to her writing and the charity, and it really kind of hits her finally, okay, that at her core she actually is quite lonely. And she struggles with that. It's kind of like everyone in my life now is settling down. Donald is probably married. Randolph is married. Everyone's moving on, having children. And where am I in this? Okay. And it's when case she gets a letter from her mama. Okay, mama is okay. And her mum is totally on her side and said how proud she is of her. Her father gets zero mention because he banished her elsewhere to New York. Actually, no, she kind of banished herself, but he banished her from, you know, his side permanently. Okay, but her mother is her champion. Okay, it's a bit here. Margaret, you seem so. I said I pray that you are happy. You've achieved so much in your young life that I find it difficult to reconcile the impetuous, impulsive child with a sensible businesswoman. Okay. Yeah, in this time, she's become a successful businesswoman, a charity work, her writings, and yet she's just kind of wants, in a way, to go home. I think the homesickness kind of hits her hard, okay? And so she returns home. She's like, says farewell to New York and returns back to the UK, going back to Scotland, and obviously she, um, goes back to Edinburgh, and of course, as per Donald is. Okay, and of course while she's there, okay, she's going to raise money for Scotland, she's going to raise money for Edinburgh, right? hmm and then she sees Donald again for the first time in years, right? This bit here, because Margaret also in the time, okay, is becoming more independent. And instead of going like home or staying with a friend, she actually gets her own accommodation. She's living independently. She's for this time period, a woman actually doing that, unmarried or not, is quite a scandal. No chaperone, no one to take care of her, no maid, no social secretary. She's just doing it independently. Okay, right. And then she sees Donald. Right. She sees Donald again. And Donald isn't getting married. He's not married. She assumes Donald's married. He's not. The marriage kind of fell through because they weren't compatible. And this is when I guess where Queen Victoria comes to stay. Okay, is when she actually talks to Donald. Okay, about her rejected proposal, which was like a million years ago. Right. I am sorry, she said gently, for hurting you all those years ago. It would hurt the pair of us a great deal more if you'd accepted my proposal when you weren't ready. I told you at the time, remember, I didn't want a half-hearted bride. I still don't. It took one of her hands kissing her fingertips. She let the past be. Yes, she caught his hand, lifted it to her cheek and couldn't resist pressing the kiss and turned to his fingertips. Please. Right. So, in this time, Margaret's career is still going fantastic. She's actually now going to be writing for New York, but now kind of like returning back to the UK, writing about experiences coming home. So she's still going to be published, still going to do her charity work. She's going to still have her career, okay? And yet, she gets with Donald, okay? After all this time, after over 500 pages of this, after her going, okay, to practically the 4 nations, okay, right? Well, actually, she didn't go to Wales, okay? She went to Ireland, she went to Scotland, she went to New York, she's back in Scotland. Donald proposes, and she accepts. The guy we met in basically chapter 1, when she was running away from her failed engagement. It's at 500 pages. Okay, and finally, 500 page 532, they have their first kiss. At last their lips met and clung, and they opened into a kiss that was tentative and just a little strange. They still smiled at each other. They kissed again, and more deeply this time. Donald murmured her name, and this set her body light, urging her to close any gap that was between them, wanting to care for nothing more save the kisses and more of it. Right. But even then, the proposal, they're still not going to get married. They're going to wait a little bit longer. Haven't they waited long enough? Okay, among us in like her late 20s at this point. Okay, so they're going to wait a bit longer for Donald to get more established where he is, Margaret to get more established in her career, okay, helping the poor of Edinburgh, okay, right, this bit here, right, we've both got lives we're happy with, but which are very different. I got my work as an MP and the Canary estate to care for. You've got your writing and charity work in Edinburgh. We can make it work though, can't we? Of course it will, and it will be worth it. But adjustments required will be significant, that you're trying to decide where we will live and how, for example. Then what we are blessed with children, what I ideally hope we will be. It may be selfish, but after waiting for so long, I'd like to have you to myself for a while first. What do you think? Okay, so she gets Donald. Ends with a Christmas. She's married, she has a child, she's in Scotland, and she just comes home. Okay, the end. This took over 500 pages. To get with the man she was with, we met in basically the first part of the story. Okay, and I was thinking I would have loved it, okay, if she just married Randolph and it would become like part of New York social scene. I would have loved that, but no, she basically just goes home. And the father, who is mentioned, okay, we never actually see him again. It would have been nice for kind of like a moment where, Papa sees Margaret and has a moment, okay, maybe falling on his sword, mea culpa. I am so sorry, Margaret, my darling, I treated you so badly. I am so impressed with under your real name you've done all this. Never happened, okay? Which is quite funny because I've done a bit of research and spoiler territory here. Now this never happened. Actually, is a bit at the end, which Sarah Ferguson says that the real Margaret, who was a bridesmaid to one of Queen Victoria's granddaughter, Louise, I think it was Louise, who was a bridesmaid to one of Queen Victoria's daughters, real person, okay, but none of this ever happened at all. She did marry a guy called Donald, and she was a bridesmaid. But during Sarah Ferguson's kind of research about her life, doing a bit of geology, we've all been bored, we've all done that, okay, she found that she hadn't married in real life quite late in life. She was in her late 20s, and so she concocted this entire story. It's not real, okay? So overall, I will give respect to the writing, okay? Now, Marguerite Kaye, okay, collaboration. long-established Mills and Boon writer of this kind of period. The writing at times was absolutely spot on. I felt like I was there. However, when it got to New York, it just kind of fell flat. I would have loved to see more of New York society. I would have loved it, okay, if Margaret was turned out to be too much of a radical for these people, to the point where aspects of the media, okay, not her friends who are journalists, okay, fellow journalists who absolutely adore her, turned on her. She's too radical for them. But no, everyone just loves Margaret in New York. Everyone kind of loves Margaret. Margaret knows best, okay? I found that very, very frustrating. New York was where it fell apart. I would just loved if she got with Randolph and they became a power couple, but no, okay? So writing style, I found very, very good. I just found the subject matter so frustrating. Margaret is just too perfect. She has no discernible flaws, okay? Right. So I like the writing style of this book, okay? I like the fact it exists. But however, I'd be truly honest, maybe because Bridgerton has spoiled us, or I've read way too many Mills and Boon books, okay? But nothing. There's the only kind of intimate scene, okay, is them they're actually going to sneak off after they get engaged, okay, and it's like you're actually going to do the nasty before before they get married, okay. So they're actually going to, but hey, but that's it. It's all chaste. Do occasional kiss, like when she kisses Sebastian, whose sister, by the way, who actually she actually marries to this guy called Martin, as mentioned too. So yeah, so everyone gets a happy ending in this, okay. Even if Aunt Julie, okay, who winds up becoming a mother eventually. So I found this book well written but frustrating, and maybe Bridgerton has spoiled us, Julia Quinn had an ancient rhythm has spoiled us, but it was so chaste. The closest kid we get is an arm around someone or a kiss, okay? So yeah, you kind of expect a little bit more. Maybe her next one will be a little bit, play around with it a little bit more, okay? But I just found over 500 pages, okay, of this chaste relationship. It felt kind of young adult in some places, So, especially when you compare Marguerite's Kaye's other affair. Now, however, okay, maybe her next book's going to change that. However, one thing I did like, okay, is the kind of mention, and it felt a little bit meta, of like the press turning on someone, because that happened a lot to Sarah Ferguson, especially early in her marriage. She was considered a bit too brash, a bit too, especially the media. The media was brutal to her, okay, and everyone makes mistakes, and she actually did within her marriage, and so yes, so and I liked, okay, when it got a little bit meta as well, okay, when it says, well, people buy something because of who I am or because of my name. I don't know, would they? Right. Anyway, reason I have this as well, because this is a twist, okay? So, overall, like the book in a way, just found it very unsatisfying, okay? When it was good, it was good. When it dragged, and it dragged a lot, okay? They could have taken a good 100 pages out of this for no problem. Is the author is doing a signing on the 16th, okay, of May, which is only in a couple of days. That's why I actually kind of speed up these reviews a little bit, in London. I'm going to link to it because I'm going. Mills and Boon in conversation with Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, okay, with the author, okay, as well. So we get co-author Marguerite Kaye. So I've actually got this. I got this off eBay, okay, because it's been out of print forever. See if she'll sign it, okay. And I also bought Carol's Booksellers in Uxbridge, okay. I bought these to see if Marguerite will sign these as well, okay. So yes, there's going to be an event, a talk, and a signing. Okay, so if you see me there, hi, Cryptic Charm, known as Jodie, okay, or Joe, depending on what you want to say. And so I'm also going to get a better copy of this for her to sign too, because both authors sign it, it's going to be worth. And that's pretty much it. So overall, I found it interesting and satisfying, well researched, well written, but just way too chaste. So anyway, 41 years of Mills and Boon is officially over. This is it. I'm signing off. Thanks to everyone who followed this project with me. Thanks to Sian's bookcase as well. She's awesome. And I'm signing off. Bye now.